Hot off the heels of our biggest episode ever, we are back. Kelly, I think we should send out a big cheers to all of our new subscribers. There's quite a few of them.
Yes, welcome to the channel, guys.
Thank you very much for checking out our Top Gun Maverick review, getting lots of great comments and feedback on that. Keep it going. We'll absolutely love it. We have no shortage of things to discuss on this week's episode of the Talkin Pop podcast. So Kelly, let's get right in to this week's news kernels. So we finally get our first official look at Black Adam.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let you go first. Lay it on me what your thoughts on Black Adam are.
Well, I mean, this casting, was announced a better part of a decade ago. So it feels like a long time coming. Okay. Pros. I like how excited Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is about this.
That's your first pro.
I like his commitment. I like his excitement. As far as the trailer goes, I will say I think it looks better than I was maybe expecting it might. I think that some of that has to do with some great casting, like our, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Like, that's great casting, and he's, he brings like sort of a veteran presence to
I love his look too.
Yeah, he looks great.
So like, good. He's got the silver fox look going in this. It looks great.
And it's a different role than we've seen him in at least in a while. So yeah, that got me excited. I'm also excited to see Dwayne, deliver a rock bottom or a people's elbow in this. Like, he's obviously done a lot of action movies, but this one really feels like we're gonna see him be like as badass as he's ever been. So that's very exciting to me. I think that's kind of where my excitement, at least in this moment, sort of ends. I don't know, like these DC movies, like they just feel like they're not in this, like it's like we've already passed the era that they're still operating in. It feels like something we would have seen.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
My main takeaway, fans of the Snyderverse should be very happy. This looks like it's straight out of the Zack Snyder DC universe.
Yeah,
like everyone is jacked.
Take.
Everyone looks like a mythological figure, like Greek gods. Like, this looks straight up like it belongs in the Zack Snyder DCEU.
Agreed. I also am like, I'm interested to see what they're going to do. This isn't a slight against the movie. But, this is like another anti-hero character, kind of similar to what we've seen in other universes with like Venom, which is not my favorite movie, as listeners of the show would know. So I just find it interesting, like how I find it interesting to figure out, like, where do we go in the long term with these anti-hero characters? Because they want to build a universe. I think even there was a quote today saying, Dwayne saying that, he's in it for the long haul and he's 100% committed to build a DC universe. But that's challenging to do around an anti-hero character. So I don't know what your take is on that, but it's a weird foundation to try and build a universe.
Part of me it just watches this and is like, outside of the Batman and the movie that we're going to talk about next in our next news kernel, like, what are we doing here? Like, is this seemingly looks like it's out of like I said, the Snyder DCEU, like an extended version of that. Like, if you told me this character existed in the same world as Jason Momoa's Aquaman or Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, I believe you. It looks like it. So I'm kind of just like, I'm trying not to think too hard about that, to be honest with you, because it's
Yeah.
just like I don't know. I've got a hot take about this trailer. So I didn't mind this trailer,
Yeah,
which
I would say the same. Like I felt
on
the
the
same.
surface, it seems like something that I would just roll my eyes at because I was not a huge fan of the Snyderverse. I think the reason why we both feel that way is we've already seen Dwayne The Rock Johnson in some silly ass, ridiculous scenarios in his movie career
Yeah.
that it's just not that like I'm not in disbelief watching him do this stuff in this movie. And like I've literally seen him as a mortal man in the Fast and the Furious movie pull down a helicopter. Like it's like so I feel like I view this through a different lens because it's him.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Like
Yeah.
he not that they have like all the same sort of films, but his career reminds me a lot of Ryan Reynolds' career in this moment where it's like they just have their lane
Mhm.
and they're sticking in their lane and
Yep.
because they are so true to that, you kind of to your point like just go like yeah this is Dwayne Johnson. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, speaking of
Yes.
Top Gun Maverick and all of our new subscribers, hello again. Like you just sort of are a little bit more subscribed to the formula because of what those actors have sort of set forth previously in the brand that they've built. So I agree. I do think that that plays a big role. Just having that acceptance that like Dwayne's gonna. I mean, and you're saying all the things he's done as a mortal man. My God, he's
Yeah.
a god in this one. So we can really suspend disbelief in this one and just go along with it. But yeah, I agree. Like it's I just DC, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. It's hard to get excited about these movies because it's just historically been such a mess.
But I'll be happier if we find out closer to or whether we have to wait till we see it or not that this is just exists on its own. I think I'll be much happier if that's the case. Like if this is just like Black Adam in his own Black Adam world, like I'll be okay with that. Like if we get
Agreed.
in,
Agreed.
we start getting Easter eggs about like Aquaman and I know so many people desperately want that. Like I'm not one of them. So if this is just off on its own, I feel like I can digest it better that way and embrace it a little more as like this is just a Dwayne Johnson movie, a Dwayne
Yeah,
Johnson superhero flick.
I'm in a bit of two minds about that because I think we've been so trained by the Marvel formula, which, it is absolutely a formula at this point, that like, as much as I think that these standalone movies serve the film better in its storytelling and not having to pay service to the 20 things that are going to come after, I do sometimes find myself kind of going like what's the point, this is it,
Mm.
like what am I signing up for here if not to get into a bigger universe? Like I think that that's what Marvel has tattooed into my brain at this point, that like
Right.
unless we sort of feel like there's something else coming, I don't feel as excited unless it's a character like Batman that we just love kind of, you know,
I
without question.
prediction. I definitely think we're gonna get some sort of like Shazam Easter egg in this movie
Yeah,
or
that's yeah.
reference. I also think we're probably gonna get some sort of either Wonder Woman or Kal-El reference or Easter egg in this movie.
See, I think I just imagine the marquee of like you got to put Dwayne and Jason Momoa in a movie together. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is like every
yes,
bros fantasy to see
it's
those
true.
two guys. Like so. Yeah. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. Like, what are you doing, DC? I don't know.
Moving on, as I alluded to earlier, this is an all DC version of the this week's news kernels. Joker 2 officially announced.
Yeah.
Todd Phillips directing once again. Joaquin Phoenix returning once again. you have a very polarizing take on the first one. A lot of people love that film. I'm I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. So my reaction to this is cool, like great. I'll definitely see it. I'll definitely go watch it. For me, the thing that I really struggled with the first one, and I'm definitely think I'm going to struggle with more with the second one is it's not the Joker if there's no Batman.
Mm,
Like it's a crazy clown man. Like it's
yeah.
it's just not it doesn't feel the same to me. And I know you can be like, oh, it's his own thing. Batman doesn't exist in this world. And it's like, okay, all that's fine. I just don't get, and I can still take it for what it is. Like, I can still watch Joaquin Phoenix and go, man, this is a fantastic performance. And wow, this movie is dark. And man, he looks like him. He's got the suit, he's got the green hair, he's got all the traits, he's got everything. But I have a really hard time investing, especially now that we 1,000% know that there will be no crossover between Joaquin Phoenix and Robert Pattinson. We know that's not happening at all.
Yeah.
So I just, like I said, I'll watch it, I'll appreciate it, I'll respect it, but I have a really hard time getting super excited about it when I know that there isn't going to ultimately be a Batman payoff.
Yeah. I mean, you alluded to it. So I will say before anybody comes after me in the comments that I totally appreciate Joaquin Phoenix's performance. He's an incredible actor. There's no doubt about that. Like, I'll just say that. Overall, I think I think that first one is a very silly movie that's posturing as a work of art and this profound it is so silly, and then I won't even get into my thoughts on how it's glorifying violence and all these terrible things that I just bleh. That movie left me with what I'll say is that movie left me feeling with a very icky feeling. I just didn't like, and you know me, I like watching dark. You know, you hear other reviews. I like watching. I love Daredevil. I love all the dark street level stuff. This movie felt icky to me, and then yeah, you add on what you're saying about like that. This ultimately isn't really a part of what we ultimately want to see in a Joker character is for him to face off against his arch nemesis. Like this is
Yes.
it's the yin and yang that makes that ultimately so interesting because if we're not going to put him up against Bruce Wayne Batman, like what conflict are we conjuring up in the next one? Like he's just going to go like he's what someone's going to steal his sign again like out front of the store. Like it's just what's the issue other than him
Yeah.
like going around and causing chaos? It's very like obviously polar different movies, but like I said, I find it interesting how many movies now are leaning into these anti-hero or downright villainous characters,
Yeah.
and it makes it challenging to because like he's ultimately a bad guy, but we're going to follow him around for another 2 hours and he's going to be probably the hero of that story. um and I
I don't think
really
so. The way the
I
first one ended, I can see this one ending the exact
but
same way. Just
no, but I'm
dark.
sorry, like, but he was the hero of that story because you have everybody out cheering for him for blowing De Niro's head off. Like the, it's icky. I don't want to watch another 2 hour movie where we're applauding someone for when you get treated badly, you murder them. Like
Yeah.
I just don't love that. I fine as the standalone story, and that was sort of the way in which Todd Phillips was imagining his origin. And so I can take that, even though it's not my cup of tea, I can take that for what it is. But now what? Because I think when you're creating that origin story, you're ultimately going, okay, and then this is the guy who's going to go on to be at odds with Batman, and this is and we can kind of, as the audience, sort of create what comes next.
Yeah.
But they're going to fill in this weird middle where what Bruce Wayne is like now a teenager. I just don't
I
know
don't
what
know. Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Um
Only
yeah.
time will tell. All right. we got a lot to discuss here. It's time to revisit what has unquestionably been the topic that we have discussed the most in the history of the Talkin Pop podcast: Disney Plus TV shows.
Yep.
We have
Yeah.
we have the first episode of Miss Marvel, and we have episode 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're going to start with Miss Marvel. I have been extremely critical on this show of Disney Plus TV series, specifically the Marvel ones. And I've said that for the most part, I haven't really liked any of them. Like, I liked Moon Knight for 5 episodes, didn't love the 6th. I thought Loki was okay until the finale. None of them have blown me away. So when I sat down to watch episode 1 of Miss Marvel, I sat down and went, oh, okay, let's just get through this. Like, we're going to have to talk about it on the podcast. So let's get through it. I thought this was a lovely episode of television.
Yeah, it was
And,
cute.
and I just respected that this show is just not running away from what it is. It's like a family channel show just on Disney Plus, featuring a Marvel character and Marvel characters. And I thought the Kamala Khan and her family story was really funny. Her and her pal Bruno trying to get to Bruno, the tech wizard, trying to get to Avengers Con. I literally texted my fiance after, and because she was upstairs and I was too lazy to walk upstairs, and I was like, you got to watch this show with me. I think you're
Yeah.
really gonna like it. And I think this show has the ability to sort of cross over. And I think this is a long-winded way of saying, I think certain Marvel shows have struggled with like what they're trying to achieve and what they're trying to accomplish and like whatever. And there's another show that we're going to talk about in a few minutes that I think is having that same problem. But I just liked that this was just, hey, this is just going to be a fun show about high school Kamala Khan, and she wants to be an Avenger, and she gets a power bracelet and becomes Miss Marvel. I quite liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was incredibly cute. I went in already feeling like I was sort of rooting for this show. The actress is from Markham, Ontario, not too far from where we grew up. So that, that already had me rooting for it. And then, yeah, like I think I agree. It's a bit of a different. I'm not going to say genre because it's not. It is a Marvel show through and through, absolutely. But it's appealing to a different audience potentially. And I also enjoyed that while we've spent time with a character like Peter Parker, who's in high school and stuff, he himself, like, we've always known him as an Avenger, essentially. From the second that he got introduced to us back in Civil War, like, he was on the team very quickly. I liked that we sort of have this, like, different perspective where, like, we're spending time with, like, a fangirl.
Yes.
And you can also totally imagine, like, she feels like such a real person. Like, she's a big fan of Captain Marvel, and she's like, she idolizes her and she wants to be just like her. And then her parents, who, have their own strict sort of views or values, or, just sort of sensibilities about the world, like, don't want her to, it's like hanging a poster of the Backstreet Boys in your room, and your parents are like, "Oh, get that off your wall." Like, it's such a real scenario for a young teenage girl.
Yeah.
So I quite enjoyed that. And then obviously, like, we had the few moments that we spent at Avenger Con, and you could just sit for that sequence and hit pause every, second and find a different Easter egg.
Yeah.
And different, funny reference that, like, I thought that was so cute because, yeah, if we lived in a world where you had the Avengers and these people save the world, like, there certainly would be this pop culture phenomena around them. And you would have these young kids idolizing them in the same way that, celebrities in whatever Earth number we live on, celebrate them. So Yeah, I just thought it was really cute, and I liked I like stylistically, she's a creative person, so we're watching, the world around her
Yes, yes,
kind
yes.
of move with her, and like, when her and Bruno are texting, like it's
Vibrant
in
colors in
yeah.
this, like like it jumped out at you, like the way it's shot, like it's vibrant.
Yeah. So I just, you know what? Like we've still got a number of episodes to go. I can't say how I feel about we got to see how we feel about the season as a whole. But as a first episode, I thought it was really just nice and pleasant to watch.
The Avengers video game for PlayStation and Xbox starts with Kamala Khan going to AvengerCon.
Right. Yeah.
And she doesn't want to enter the Captain Marvel costume contest. She's in like the comic book contest. And you sort of start the game running around AvengerCon collecting comic books. And that I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's so, you know what? Thumbs up. And I am someone who I will come on here and I want to be wrong. And I was wrong. I was not excited to watch this. And by the end, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Moving on. Another Disney Plus series to discuss. Okay, before we get into episode 4, we haven't talked about episode 3 on this show.
Yeah.
So we should touch on that quickly because I don't want to be purely negative about this show. So we need to talk about the positive episode, which was episode 3. Episode 3 was unanimously praised by like everyone and us alike. Obviously, a huge reason for that was all the Darth Vader stuff and the portrayal of Darth Vader as like this kind of like Michael Myers slow walking esque. I got huge
Yes.
Michael Myers vibes from
Yeah.
Vader in that episode. But you know what made episode 3 so great and what has not made episodes 1, 2, and 4 all that great? Episode 3 hit on what I personally and a lot of other people thought this show was going to be about: the dichotomy between Obi-Wan and Vader and the emotional bond and connection that they still share. And Obi-Wan like upset learning that Anakin is back and how they're still connected through the force and like the different sides and the like just the reuniting and the emotion, and that hasn't been the case in episodes 1, 2, and 4. This has been a show about Princess Leia and the third sister, Reva.
Yeah.
And it was the promotion of the show was billed as like the return of Obi-Wan with all the Vader breathing and Hayden Christensen is back. And it's just like, no, it's not. This is an origin story for Princess Leia. Now, I understand why people are disappointed. Now, you absolutely should not go on social media and hurl racist comments at an actress or accost a 10-year-old. Like, and if you are doing that, seek help immediately. But I understand why people are kind of frustrated with this. Like, I'm just sitting here today and I'm going, once again, Kelly, once again, we are in this situation where there's 2 episodes to go.
Yeah.
And what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
It's so interesting to me. So, to take a step back, like I was pretty harsh on episodes 1 and 2 on this show. Episode 3 certainly was in a very enjoyable watch. I even think I'm in agreement. Let's not go after the little actors and actresses and all that in the show. It's got nothing to do with that. But even I wasn't enjoying the dynamic with Leia in episodes 1 and 2. I think episodes 3 and 4, I've found that a lot more palatable. So I will say that. But I think what's so interesting to me, and it has nothing to do with the performances. It has what people
Kelly,
are being asked to do.
The
they're
actress who
delivering.
is playing Leia is fantastic. She's
Yes.
fantastic. But it's like, this isn't why I was excited for this show.
Yeah, like what I'm finding interesting is this show is sort of reading like, when you want to like, there's a remake of something, but you can't get the big name actor back, so you kind of just you fill it with like, I just find it bizarre that we're spending so much time with the third sister.
Yeah, why?
It's not
Why?
like Hayden's price tag at this point, sorry, is out of reach for Star Wars budget. So I'm not understanding the way I'm struggling to get this out, but what I'm trying to say is the way that they've written this show to me is reading like they didn't have the budget to have a strong Darth Vader presence. You know what I mean? Like
It's just to me it's directionless, and I just again it's the same thing that I complained about when we were on here last week. It's just like can we just like leave the Skywalkers alone? It's like yes, we're there, we've seen them, and like the same thing, and like with Riva, like great, she's doing a great job. Like that's fantastic. I I want to see, like, why did everyone love episode 3? I am what you made me. It's like, that's why we were excited for
yeah.
this show. And even in this, what's my favorite scene in this episode? When they're both in the back to tank and they're like connected to each other while Obi-Wan's in the back to tank and Vader's in the back to tank. Like, that that's what we all wanted. We don't want this, like, I don't know.
Weird. Yeah, like it almost feels like I'm gonna go back to something that you said, Rob, and I'm gonna give you your credit where it's due. It's like, why didn't we do an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie
Yes.
and
Yes.
then do an Inquisitors
Show. 100%.
show?
100%.
It just feels really bizarre. It feels like they had this Inquisitor show, and then we're like, I don't think people are going to care about this unless we, have one of our tentpole characters here. So let's get Ewan back, and because I also am feeling like, as incredible of an actor as he is, and every time he speaks, I'm fully into it. But are they not wasting Ewan McGregor here, like
Yes,
massively?
100%. That's what I'm saying. It's not his show.
It's not his show. Exactly. Like I'm not feeling that at 2 episodes left, we've progressed enough
No.
in the conflict. And my God, like he just found out. Let's just break this down for a second. I'm going to explain to you all what you all already know. But it's like you have the person that he was tasked with training
Mhm.
by the instruction of his master, who as we were explained in the show was his family, because he was torn away from his family as a young boy, and he failed in doing that.
And not only did he fail, he became the greatest Sith Lord of all time.
And wiped out, like
Yes.
there was Jedi genocide as a
Yes.
result. So there's that. And then we sit for 10 years thinking that person died at his hand, that he was the one who killed him and burned him to death. But then he finds out, no, he's alive. What? Have we seen anything that
No.
really suggests the agony and turmoil and just shock and awe that would befall a person who went through this experience?
No. I thought I was going to see it this episode, but no. We got it for a split second in the back to tank, and then we're right off again to get Layla and Lola. And
I do like Lola.
I like Lola too, but now Lola's a tracker. They
Yeah.
turned Lola. Can we also like send a PSA to Disney? This 6-episode, 45-minute strategy, this one was 39 minutes, isn't working. Like, you look at Stranger Things, okay? 7 episodes, over an hour each episode.
Yeah.
Every character is developed. Every character is getting their time. Have you heard one person complain about how long those episodes were?
No.
No, exactly. So can we stop with just this, like, because again, I can't believe we're here again. We're in the same place we were with Moon Knight. We're in the same place we were with Boba Fett. And well, Boba Fett at this point, the show was gone. It was Mandalorian season 2.5, where it's just like we've got 2 episodes left here. Like what are we doing? Where is this going?
Yeah. I mean, there are rumors flying around that there's going to be a season 2. Um, but to your point, like, okay, great. Like, okay, so maybe that means that, we're gonna flesh this out a little bit more in the future. But to your point, like, that still doesn't satisfy my desire as a viewer that when I'm watching a show called Obi-Wan Kenobi, that the emotional crux and the story is being propelled by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like I have more at this point. There is more emotional, like, thread being laid out with Riva, because you're like, okay, like, why is she so angry, and what
Yeah.
was taken away from her, and
Yes.
like all this, and it's like, and that's a nice story to tell, but like, I'm sorry to what
The
you said,
show's
like,
called
this
Obi-Wan
this
Kenobi.
is an
Yes.
Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So
Yes.
if we want to focus in on the Inquisitors, this was not the way to do it. And then
Mhm.
yeah, like, geez, poor Hayden Christensen.
And then you
He spent
got
more time on the press tour than actually in the show.
like Leia and their relationship just completely undoing things that happened in A New Hope, which at this point, it's like, if you're upset about that, you got to let that go. It's very clear that
Yeah.
they don't give a shit about it. So why should you? Like, it's very clear. It's just, yeah, I can't believe, Kelly, I can't believe we're here again. Like, 2 episodes left, and what's going to happen? I have 3 questions I want to ask
Okay.
you about the show.
Uh-huh.
First one, who does the interior design for the Empire? Because it looks exactly the same everywhere we go.
It's not Crate and Barrel.
No, the Inquisitor's base is just this episode's version of the Death Star. Literally looks exactly the same on the inside.
Yeah, they really got a good motif going on. Yeah, actually, that's like, yeah, they all got together. They kind of decided the brand colors. They went,
Yes.
they really went for it. Yeah, yeah, it's a.
Question number 2. Are stormtroopers the dumbest henchmen in all of cinema?
Are they the dumbest? I'm kind of thinking about a
I would
movie
say them or putty patrollers are neck
they're
and
pretty
neck.
dumb. I was also thinking about the Two-Face goons in Batman Forever. They're
Yes.
pretty
Yes.
stupid too.
Yeah.
But I think almost at this point, stormtroopers, like, it's actually a bit of a known. Like, I almost think it's a gag. It's a gag. The guy, in the first bumping his head on the door. Like, I think they almost play into it to a
Yeah.
certain degree,
Yes.
that they're
Yeah,
like,
but they're just dumb.
they're dumb.
Yeah. What do you think of this? Because it's not actually James Earl Jones doing the voice. It's like
Mhm.
they're changing Hayden Christensen's voice to sound like James Earl Jones. And
Yeah.
I honestly don't think it's been that bad. Like, I think I
I
thought
think
it
it
sounded
sounds
amazing.
I think it
Yeah.
sounds fantastic, and I will
Yeah.
say, and this is no disrespect to the man, the legend, but in Rogue One, I think it
Yes.
was, like,
Yes.
this is not a young man anymore.
Yeah.
And you could hear that he had aged in his voice. And
Mhm.
so, they're going to continue to use this character into the future, many, many years into the future. Like, there needed to be a solution to be found. I think it sounds great, actually. Like, I I knew
Yeah.
it wasn't James Earl Jones because it was almost too crystal clear
Mhm.
compared to Rogue One. But I think I preferred it to. It sort of takes you out of it. Again, no
Yeah.
disrespect, but it sort of takes you out of it when you're like, oh, he's a grandpa now.
Yeah. Yeah. The scene where he walks in and like picks Reva up and he's like, I will no longer tolerate your failure or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I hope that we get way more him and that, but it's just, I don't know. I don't want to be negative. I really don't, but it's just like I'm
But
watching this today and I'm like, Like, what are we doing here,
I just
guys?
can't. Yeah, like I just, it's really, it's really juvenile story writing. If like, it's the best way I can describe it. And I'm even going to go back to even episode 3, which we enjoyed, but like, you know, to get across that, he's this hardened man who, who doesn't have much faith left in humanity. Like, Leia's like, well, why don't we wait, 30 seconds for this person that said they're going to be in this spot? And he's like, no one's coming, Leia.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like it's just so, it's very,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
it hasn't been
very
good.
juvenile writing
No.
where it's like,
They've
look,
nailed.
he's mad.
Yeah. The brief few scenes that Vader has had, I think they've absolutely nailed him.
Yeah.
I have no hate on any of the actors. I think they're all doing a fantastic job
Yeah,
with what they're given. Like,
it's
it's
the
not.
writing and it's the story.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's not Moses Ingram's fault. Like,
No,
she got cast
I
as
actually
this.
think she's
Yeah.
doing like, I totally am vibing with her when she comes walking in and is like, commanding the room. Like I think
Yeah.
she's doing a great job. I just, yeah, like it's unfortunate because, and it's interesting because we've talked about this as it relates to other Disney properties. The ones that come to mind to me are Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Moon Knight are two where we were sort of sold something
Yeah.
that they didn't deliver on.
Yeah.
And so I can understand people's, I will say some of the Doctor Strange was a little bit fan created, but
Mhm.
I can understand people's frustrations. Like you're going into this and then you're kind of expecting, particularly in the Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's like I was expecting this to really feel like a movie over 6
Yes.
episodes.
Hasn't felt that way.
Because you've got Ewan McGregor, like he's a
Movie star.
he's a movie star, exactly. And so I thought, you know what, like this is going to be really epic, and it's just not. Like it's
Yep.
just very. It certainly feels like a TV show. It certainly feels like a TV show budget.
Yep. Oh my God. There were some scenes in this episode, like when the ship flies on and lands in the Inquisitor's like base there on the water moon, like that looked like a straight up video game. Anyways, we should put our bats away. Let's put our positive hat. If Brad were here, he would want us to be positive. And so we'll put our positive hats on.
I'll give you one positive that I like,
Okay.
that my fiance and I point out every time we see it. Love the use of the nighttime lightsabers.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
lightsabers in dark
dark
spaces
is fantastic.
looks great. Love
Yes,
the
it
look
does.
of a yeah, like that's just a great, there's nothing better than a lightsaber.
100%. It's the greatest weapon ever created. All right, Kelly, we're going to get out of here. We will be back next week to talk about episode 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Again, I want to say thank you and a big welcome as well to all of our new subscribers. We really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the show yet, click that button below. Also, leave a like and a comment. Lots of comments on the Maverick review, too. Absolutely love that. Do the exact same if you're listening to the audio version, wherever that might be, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.